GBL GameDay, your home for all the exciting action from the Greater Boston League.
In match number 1, the 4-2 Miami Sound Machine visit 3-3 Albanian Hard Knocks. Key performances included Brees Hall's 27.1 points for the Hard Knocks and Amon-Ra St. Brown's impressive 26.2 for the Sound Machine. Sam Darnold and Jordan Love both had solid days at quarterback, while Raheem Mostert and Austin Eckler struggled to meet projections. The Rams defense helped the Sound Machine out with 18 points, but Albanian Hard Knocks held on for a narrow victory, edging out the Miami Sound Machine by a score of 101.3 to 98.86. In match number 2, the 5-1 Hurricane visit the 2-4 Korean Mafia. Despite a poor showing from C.J. Stroud with 3.34 points, Hurricane capitalized on standout performances from Rashad Wright, 29.1, and the Broncos defense with 23. For Korean Mafia, Javonte Williams at 26.1 and Aaron Jones at 20.6 performed very well, but subpar games from key players like Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce hurt their chances. This win keeps Hurricane in first place, while Korean Mafia falls further down the standings at number 11 with a dominant victory, 124.94 to 98.96. In the GBL Game of the Week, 3-3 Fighting Irish visit 1-5 Mama Patterson. Joe Mixon with 27.4, Saquon Barkley with 27.7, and Mark Andrews with 20.1 carried Fighting Irish to a commanding victory, keeping them in second place at 4-3. Despite a solid showing from Brian Thomas Jr. with 22.1 and DK Metcalf with 19.9, Mama Patterson couldn't close in the gap, dropping them to 1-6 by a score of 142.14 to 88.26. In match number 4, 3-3 Senor Ochocinco visits 3-3 Assen TDs. Lamar Jackson carried the day for the TDs with a massive 34.94 points, while key contributions for George Kittle and the Commanders defense sealed the victory. Senor Ochocinco saw strong performances from Jalen Hurts and Kareem Hunt, but they just fell short in this tight matchup, with Assen TDs barely edging out Senor Ochocinco by a score of 121.14 to 120.36. In match number 5, the 2-4 injured reserves visit the 3-3 handicap heroes. Kyler Murray, Josh Jacobs, and Kenneth Walker, all over 20 points, led the charge for the victors, with additional strong showings from wide receivers A.J. Brown and tight end David Njoku. Handicap heroes had standout efforts from Baker Mayfield and Bijan Robinson, but it wasn't enough to compete in Week 7. This win moves both teams to 3-4, though the injured reserves rise in the standings. With a dominant performance, the injured reserves crushed the handicap heroes by a score of 146.8 to 86.6. And finally, in match number 6, the 3-3 Quails visit the 4-2 Albanian Express. Josh Allen and Jahmyr Gibbs led the Quails with standout performances, while Najee Harris and Brock Bowers added to the total. Despite Derrick Henry's 26.2 points for the Albanian Express and solid efforts from Drake London and T. Higgins, the rest of the team couldn't keep up, with Jaden Daniels managing only 5.24 points at quarterback. This win moves the Quails to 4-3, tied with Albanian Express in record. With a decisive victory, the Quails win 140.22 to 104.54. now let's take a look at the slate of matchups for Week 8 in the GBL. In match number 1, it's the number 3 Albanian Express taking on the number 4 Aston TDs. In match number 2, the number 6 Albanian Hard Knocks face off against the number 2 Fighting Irish. In match number 3, it's a battle between inter-office rivals as the number 11 Korean Mafia take on the number 5 Quails. In match number 4, number 12 Mama Patterson looks to get their first win up against a very tough opponent, number 1 Hurricane. In match number 5, number 9 Senor Ochocinco looks to stop the momentum on the number 8 Injured Reserves. And finally, in match number 6, the number 10 Handicap Heroes take on the number 7 Miami Sound Machine. This week's GBL Game of the Week showcases the Clash of Champions with two-time champion number 9 Senor Ochocinco facing off 2016 champion the number 8 Injured Reserves. Both teams currently sit at 3 and 4, with George holding the tiebreaker. Ranked 2nd and 4th all-time in career records, the teams are locked at 5 and 5 in their head-to-head series, though the Injured Reserves have taken 2 of the last 3 matchups. Early projections favor the Injured Reserves to win 115 to 103, potentially signaling a rise for George's squad. It might be time for a new name.
This week's GBL Spotlight shines on founding member Steve Keogh and his team, Aston TDs. Steve currently ranks 7th all-time with 64 wins and 67 losses, including 5 winning seasons over 10. He's tied for 4th all-time in playoff appearances with 4 in 2014, 2016, 2017, and 2019, reaching the championship in 2019, but ultimately falling short to Joel Grace. His 13 losses to rival Sean Keogh mark the most defeats against any single opponent in league history. On the converse, he's tied for 9th all-time with most wins versus a single opponent, winning 7 times against 2, Dave Lawton and Theo Deshnico. In 2003, Aston TDs, then named the Cleveland Steamers, finished 7-7 and just barely missed out on the playoffs. However, in 2024, they are off to a strong start, sitting at 4-3 and ranking in the top 5 for scoring.